Welcome everyone to the Jaye Wellness Studio Q&A Wednesday. Today we have a couple of questions that I'm going to throw at you. Thank you for all of you who have submitted questions to the jayewellness@gmail.com email address. I have quite a few to go through, but I'm going to start getting through those emails and answering those questions for you. So today I have a couple of questions that I'm going to address. I'm going to try to get through them here for you, and hopefully this solves your problem or answers your question. So the first question that comes in today reads as follows. Hello. My name is from Toronto, Ontario. Thanks so much for your YouTube channel. I have watched many of your videos. I have started having ETD symptoms after I had COVID in December. I also have acid reflux, and my doctor thinks the reflux may be bothering my ears, and I should take reflux medication. I'm not sure what to do or what to try. I would be interested in your opinion about reflux and ETD. Would you consider making some content about that? Thanks again for your YouTube channel. It is excellent. Thank you to that individual that submitted that question. I appreciate that. I actually have maybe one other video on my channel about reflux or just digestive issues, but basically what can happen with ETD and reflux problems is that we tend to sometimes build up our stomach acid. Our stomach acid builds up over time. It could be due to medication. It could be due to dietary changes that are needed. So our consumption of food, what we eat, when we eat it, it could be lack of exercise. It could be stress. There's a lot of things that could cause GERD or acid reflux to affect the ears. What predominantly happens is the acid kind of creeps up through the esophagus, affecting the middle ear, giving us problems with ear infections, giving us problems with the congestion. It can really put you in a bad perspective. It can even start causing a lot of vertigo problems and things of that nature. So when it comes to ETD and reflux, I treat it like I treat most things. It's really, again, getting back to the basics. So don't want to sound like a broken record, but when it comes to having digestive problems and ETD, what I always try to do is to think of what can I eliminate that's not so good for me. So like we could all look at our dietary changes. Let's start there. Dietary changes. We can all look at what we consume on a day-to-day basis and think, okay, is this helping? Is this not helping? A lot of you wake up, you drink the coffee. What is coffee predominantly? Acid. Acidity affects the gut health. It affects the body, especially if the pH is off, so that your body's balance, your natural balance of alkalinity, and if your body in acidity, if your body's not balanced, you're going to start experiencing a lot of digestive issues. And so one thing you need to do is to kind of look at what you do dietary wise. Is there things that you can eliminate? So, or more importantly, are there things you can incorporate? For me, when I didn't really have any digestive issues, but whenever I did feel off balance, because I know a lot of you do know what that feels like when you're off balance, what I tended to do is I try my absolute best to overhydrate myself. When I mean overhydrate, more than I would normally do when I was experiencing symptoms, but you should always hydrate, of course. I would overhydrate, which is good for flushing out toxins, is good balancing the pH, consuming more healthy green vegetables. I know some fruits can have acid in it as well. Citrus related fruits can increase the acidity. But the thing you want to do is to look there. Are there things that you're doing? Are you eating too many fried foods? Are you drinking soda? Are you drinking coffee? Are you doing it the worst times? The morning is when you really should be putting in the good, healthy foods into your system, because that's when your body is the most acidic. And our body is the most susceptible to problems first thing in the morning. We're running off adrenaline. We're having spiking cortisol. All these things occur in the morning. So it's really what you really put in your body first. To combat some of those things, what you can do is implement some good probiotics. What I do is I drink kombucha. I think I've already maybe told a lot of you that already. I drink kombucha. I drink apple cider vinegar. These are things that are going to help. Believe it or not, when you look at apple cider vinegar, it's acid. It feels very acidic. It smells very acidic. It's acidic on the outside, but once it connects to the body's chemistry, it then becomes a natural alkalinity type food, type beverage. So when you drink your apple cider vinegar, once it hits the bloodstream, once it hits the body, once it hits the gut, it starts to become more alkalinity in the body. And if your body's too high pH related to the acidity side, you want to bring it to a more balanced level. Look, we need both. We need acid in our body and we need alkaline in our body, and we need to balance those. So again, it's really important to balance what you put in. Like I said, probiotics, dietary changes, lifestyle changes related to stretching, breathing exercises, and then check your pillow, making sure that your body, your pillow as you lay down is at a good position. Make sure it's not too low, not too high. You want to be parallel to the bed. And you also, I recommend sleeping on your left side. You're going to get the best breathing. You're going to get the best digestion. So really just focusing on certain little key areas that are going to impact uh, GERD and things like that. But as far as recommending medication versus no medication, I can't do that, unfortunately. But I will tell you what I would do. I would not take any acid reflux medication, just because there's a lot of side effects involved. There's a lot of things that I feel like can be done prior to doing that. Now, if you're at a severe level, of course, you always want to listen to who's providing your health care. But for me, if you were to ask me what I would do, I wouldn't do it, because I feel like it might just padding the problem, won't eliminate it. So what I always like to do is what I explained. Do look at your overall perspective. What I can also do is I will link in the description great forms. I created 3 awesome forms, completely free, that you can go onto the website and download. And it's going to have a good anti-inflammatory diet-based form. It's going to be a form to ask 8 questions each day. What can you do? What have you done? And it's going to give you a breakdown of what is going to be good for you based on those 8 questions. So that's going to be in the description for you. And then just download those, apply them. And then the other form is mental health. I had to think for a minute. Mental health form is going to help you just cope through what you're dealing with. So I hope that, I know that was a long-winded answer, but I hope a little bit in that you found some good ideas in there to try. Again, you want to try to do your absolute best to stay as holistic as possible, because once you become medicated related on things like that, it can cause a lot of things to go out of balance. The body can go out of balance. It's not a natural thing for the body to be involved with. But again, if you're severe and the doctor say, hey, you need to take this because this is going to happen if you don't do this and don't do this, I would still do as advised. But I would do whatever I could to not take that. But that's just me personally dealing with who I am. I would do the clean diet. I would change my diet. I would change my lifestyle, changes a little bit, adjust a few things, and then see what can help you there. All right, so let's move on to the next question here, and it reads as follows. Hi, Jay. We spoke a year ago regarding my ETD. I told you that I had lost an eardrum due to an ear infection, all resulting from ETD. It is now over 3 years since it first started. I've used my infrared lamp for at least 30 minutes a day for over a year, infrared sauna 2 to 3 times a week. I take Plantago, turmeric, and use self-massage every day. I eat really well, but still basically no improvement. This is all made even harder as I'm a professional UK-based musician and DJ. It's driving me nuts. I just thought I'd reach out again in case you could suggest anything else. Thanks in advance. So these types of messages really kind of break my heart, because you can really tell that this individual has been really grinding the pavement, trying to find the best solutions for themselves to keep moving on. As you can see, that individual has tried a lot of the things that I've not only recommended, but I'm sure whatever care they're receiving recommends as well. They're taking herbs, and they're taking different types of natural resources, obviously the infrared light, stretching, things like that, and still no improvement. And unfortunately has been in a position now where it's becoming a longer process than expected. And I just want to say, before I kind of get into that question, is I went 3 years with the same situation, and it didn't seem to change once things got better, when I realized that I need to stop tracking so much too. Now, I always talk about journaling. That's something that I brought up. I say you should always journal. But it's kind of a catch-22 with that. So once you've gotten to a point where you're in 3 years in, then you've pretty much, if you're doing everything consistently and right, 3 years for anybody is too long. So we know that it's becoming now a habit in the mind. It's becoming like this landmark in your life now. So you pretty much can't get away from this now. 3 years to deal with anything is going to start becoming a personality trait. And what I mean by that is you're going to start thinking that this is all there is for you left, and it's going to become a mental battle. So what I would say to this individual is, again, look over what you're doing still. It sounds like this individual is doing really well. But what I've found with this condition, and it's very common, the more I talk to different professionals all over the world, I've found that musicians have gotten this condition more than any other field that I've studied. And so I've gotten messages from several musicians that say they have the same issues with ETD. And to me, there's some kind of correlation between possibly the type of line of work, the constant interaction with music going into the ears. And so I've gotten several messages from several musicians that say they're going through this. And I almost want to think if it's something to do with the constant exposure to sounds, loud sounds, looking down, and there's something to do with the music exposure, constantly hearing the crowd noise, constantly looking down, so that's putting strain on the neck, in the joint spaces, it's putting pressure on the cervical spine, it's adding inflammation in the body. We don't realize that our physical state of being affects our mental state of being. It affects the way we react to different things. So if we're adding inflammation in the body from a physical perspective, the pain, the suffering, the stiffness, the slowness, the sluggishness, all of that is going to start affecting us mentally and emotionally. And so I'm not a pro in the musical field, the musician field, or anything like that, but I will say there's a lot of red flags when it comes to that. Now, am I saying to stop your career? No. I'm saying that there are some red flags when it comes to being either an entertainer or a musician, because you're just constantly involved in sounds, and it's just really challenging. I've really interviewed professional actors and actresses, musicians, and they all say the same thing. They're still trying to get out of this. My recommendation really here is to focus more on self-awareness. So like what your body's doing every day. So if you're not taking enough time to really stretch the body out, to really find a good position, because I have a hunch here. Now, I don't know this individual personally. I would need to have a one-on-one with them to really dive in and dig into every little detail. But I would say it has something to do with bad posture. It had something to do with neck straining and the neck space, inflammation of the cervical spine and then the muscles. I would say for this one, it's probably related more in the perspective, the way the body is positioned all day. And then the constant involvement of the sounds and loud music and different types of instruments going off all at once and things, and the crowd cheering. I would have to say maybe invest in better equipment when it comes to protecting the ears. Simple things like that. Again, I can't really know unless I really talk to this individual one-on-one and really dig some details out. But I would say the recurring factor is the fact that this individual is still involved in that atmosphere. And I think when you're in that atmosphere, you're going to be more susceptible to ear-related problems. And although the easy answer would be to say, hey, stop doing it for a while. But obviously, if that's a person's place of living, the place of what they do for a living, it would be unacceptable for me to just say that. But I will start there. I will start with the way my body's positioned. I'll be more focused on how I hold my shoulders up, how I hold my neck down, and really start identifying those things. Take up something like yoga or something that's going to help you be more mindful of where your body is, where your head is, where your neck is, things like that, and just concentrate on those things. And then I would implement a highly effective, super anti-inflammatory diet to try to combat some of those things. I do know that the individual did mention that they're doing some of those things as well, but we also have to remember that you can say, I do those things. Anyone can say, yeah, I've done that. I've tried that. But again, the body's ability to heal isn't always what you've just done or what you've done in the last few calendar days. It's always when the body's ready to heal from what you're doing. So you have to keep doing things sometimes in order to get that healing. And hopefully with the anti-inflammatory diet, being more mindful of the way the body's positioned and just really thinking about some equipment that will protect the ears better, hopefully that will help in the long run. But if not, we're really going to have to dive in on this through a one-on-one conversation. So I hope this video was very helpful for you. If it was, please take time to subscribe to the channel. I try to bring content as often as possible. But in the meantime, I'm going to step out of the Jaye Wellness Studio and leave you in good hands with this video. Like anything else, folks, we're here to simply go back to the basics. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you on the next questions, and I'll see you in the next video.